Gravity Rush 2 is what you get when you combine a unique idea with an average anime, but at least there's no high school, well, mostly no high school. Full disclosure, I never got around to playing the first game, which might maybe be entirely my fault. Either way, don't be like me, because this game builds heavily off of the first Gravity Rush. So, as I just said, Gravity Rush 2 follows the events of the first game. Kat and her lazy piece of shit companion Sid are stuck mining gems for a broke-ass floating settlement. In the recap, you learn that Kat and Sid were separated from Raven and Kat's space cat, Dusty. God, that's fucking redundant. Which is why she looks like a full-time barista on her day off. But she quickly reunites with Dusty and regains her gravity powers and proceeds to go and fix everything because, quite honestly, she was pretty useless without her powers. Eventually, the settlement docks at, oh god, Jurgaparalau, and that's when the game really opens up. The city seems prosperous at first, but you later find out there's a serious inequality and corruption problem. And this is only the first of 3 arcs. Oh man, it looks like the police are here to shut down another party. Oh shit, looks like we're going straight for the assault rifles, okay. Looks like the American police have a new ideal to strive for. In time, you eventually find yourself back in Hexville, the city from the first game. Without spoiling too much, the second arc feels like the developer watched Akira right after marathoning Evangelion, but the lack of sleep prevented them from actually making the story any good or special. Weeb. The final arc is also rushed, but I enjoyed the story even if it was approaching Kingdom Hearts levels of bullshit. The first arc is by far the best, but it stumbles when one of the characters says how impossible overthrowing the government is, but then you accomplish that task in a single chapter. Kat is that naive character who's super positive and always does what's right, and in doing so inspires everyone around her to be a better person. She's a static character just like the rest of the cast, but the overall story is okay. Nothing great, but bearable. One thing I do have an issue with is how Gravity Rush 2 tells its story. There are a few stiff cutscenes, but animation's hard, just ask BioWare. Most of the time, you'll be cycling through this comic-styled storytelling method and dialogue boxes. It's only a problem when they mix all 3 styles together. Here we have Vago preparing to make the ultimate sacrifice. Oh, let's just wait for him to finish this monologue. And now for the sacrifice. It's incredibly jarring at times and definitely feels like you should be playing this game on the Vita. May it rest in peace. Gravity Rush also loses some of its focus thematically, with revolution and power being corrupting between each arc, but at this point I'm just being a pretentious asshole. The gameplay is where Gravity Rush 2 is the most fun. Kat, being the gravity shifter, has the ability to change her gravity and fall in whichever direction you send her. She can also walk on walls and throw objects or even people. Ever shift gravity so hard you straight up kill a small family? I have to admit, once I started using the gravity powers, I wasn't a fan. It feels clunky having to stop and go if you want to fly in a completely different direction. But then it hit me. You're not flying, you're falling. So it makes sense you don't have much control, and it adds to the chaotic nature of the combat. Eventually you gain access to different styles and can change your weight in addition to the shifting ability. The Moon and Jupiter styles add even more depth and have various scenarios to when they're better options than shifting regularly. All in all, the gravity mechanics are a total blast to play. It's incredibly liberating to soar through the sky, especially in the top-of-the-line world. Granted, sometimes Kat can be a little too powerful with how easily she can take out armies of men and monsters. The whole game is a little too easy, but that'll happen when you can pick up and throw basically anything that isn't nailed down. I also can't figure out why there's even a meter for gravity shifting. There's no consequence for running out, except the minor setback of falling a few feet before the meter fills up in 2 seconds. The camera can also get a little crazy in tight spaces, but when it hits that right balance of challenge and freedom, Gravity Rush 2 is amazing. It just has trouble striking that balance all or most of the time. Each area in the different cities feels unique and lifelike. Django Para Luau, for example, uses verticality to show wealth and status of each district. While many of the trial areas feel stretched out, they have an amazing dreamlike aesthetic, minus that city monster you enter. That place is the worst and can go fuck itself. Each notable area also has its own song that reinforces its tone and setting. The rich part of That City is snooty and naive, while the entertainment district of Hexville is jazzy and undeniably cool. Could you tell I'm a huge fan of this game's soundtrack? Every song hits a nostalgic and whimsical chord that comes with JRPGs, even though this one isn't a JRPG, I know. They stand out and do their job perfectly, and I can safely say I never got tired of listening to them while playing, which is something I can't say for most games. While there are some enjoyable side missions, there seem to be just as many that are a waste of time. Some of my favorites include finding a screw, taking pictures of women for an old man, racing a pigeon, and there's even waiting in line. Yep. There are a couple of missions that don't even give you a map marker, which I respect, but at the same time, I don't exactly want to spend more than 5 minutes searching for ducks. You'll also be doing these stealth missions periodically, which are hit or miss. It's fun to tail people using your gravity powers to walk on walls and whatnot, but some of the enemies seem to have 360-degree 20/20 vision. You also have the ability to make the game a first-person shooter, but there are no guns and all the attacks are kicks, so you can't see anything. I do have to give the game a little credit for incorporating their camera function better than every other game that shoehorns in the feature nowadays. During the mission where you're taking pictures of a shady dealing that's happening between a police officer, I was getting flashbacks of Beyond Good and Evil, which is a good thing. Gravity Rush 2 has a lot going for it. It's fun and the world it creates is one of a kind. There are some problems that hold the game back from greatness, but it's worth a try if you own a PS4. Gravity Rush 2 gets a B. Alright you guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I had quite a bit of fun with this one. I do think it's worth mentioning that there's some actual free DLC that you get to play as Raven. I do not have any footage of that because I put off making this video for like a week. Remember when I said that I'd be making weekly content and I lied through my teeth? Yeah, me too. But anyway, later.